Hey there you guys, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is less than a month away from release, and hype is on an all-time high. Everyone is excited for this game. It looks to build upon everything that Breath of the Wild did, and it looks to be just an amazing game. And I don't think anyone can doubt that this is going to be an amazing game. I do, however, notice that there is a small bit of conversation forming around the fact that The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom might not be better than The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And I kind of just want to take some time to ask this question. Will The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom be better than The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild? To answer this question, we first have to go back to 2016. Nintendo had fell far from grace. Long were the days of the hype of Wii Sports, and the Wii U was not the device it needed to be. Many people were pleading Nintendo to become a third-party developer. Then, just in their darkest moment, when most people lost faith, Nintendo did the most Nintendo thing ever and combined their successful handheld console division with their struggling home console division. This was a very novel idea for its time, and tons of consumers were reluctant to believe that this quirky little idea, this little tablet that was outdated and paled graphically in comparison to the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, would be Nintendo's saving grace. For the Nintendo purists out there, it did not matter how weak or inferior the graphical fidelity was of the Nintendo Switch in comparison to the PS4 or the Xbox One, because they knew alongside the Nintendo Switch was coming The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Little did we know, however, that this new entry into the series was going to break away from the traditional Zelda formula. Little did we know that alongside Link was coming a brand new open world with 100 mini dungeons, 4 divine beasts, weapon degradation, and so much exploration. Breath of the Wild managed to do the seemingly impossible. It quieted all the doubt and worry. Everyone who didn't think Nintendo can revitalize their console system were wrong. Everyone who thought a decade-old franchise couldn't remain fresh were wrong. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild released with a Metacritic score of 97, a brand new Nintendo console, and a million questions. Breath of the Wild would go on to sell over 30 million units, outselling even the Nintendo Switch on release day. It was Game of the Year for 2017, and it is on everyone's greatest Nintendo Switch games list. Fast forward to today, Nintendo is financially, critically, and commercially doing better than they ever had been before. Nintendo no longer needs Link to save the console. We're going into this game with a better understanding how the game will play. Will we be surprised by some things in Tears of the Kingdom? Of course, but not nearly as surprised as we were when we first jumped off the Great Plateau in Breath of the Wild. But there is little chance that Tears of the Kingdom will have the same pop culture significance as The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Similar to Star Wars A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, whereas most fans would prefer Empire Strikes Back, but the most casual, mainstream fan can quote a line from A New Hope. Critically, will Tears of the Kingdom be able to get a higher Metacritic score than Breath of the Wild? To do so, it would have to land a 98 or higher. It's doable, but it's not really likely when you consider today's new critical landscape. It has become a lot harder to impress the critics. The days of surprising the audience with an experience unlike anything else are long gone. Will it be able to outsell Breath of the Wild? Maybe, but Breath of the Wild was there on day one of the Switch and has 6 years to garner up big sales numbers. And with the looming idea of a Switch predecessor somewhere near in the future, Tears of the Kingdom will have less opportunity to sell on this current Switch unless a Switch 2 version gets released. It'll be hard to outsell Breath of the Wild. Back in 2017, Breath of the Wild was battling Persona 5, Mario Odyssey, and more games, graphically more on par with Breath of the Wild. Today, however, it'll be a lot more difficult for Tears of the Kingdom to take home the Game of the Year award, as it's releasing in a year with games such like Final Fantasy 16, Starfield, Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4 Remake. Games that graphically put Tears of the Kingdom to shame. Games that will likely perform better. It's not impossible for it to win Game of the Year, but it is definitely going to be very tough competition. Now let's go back to the first question. Will The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom be better than The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild? Well, define better. Does it have to outsell it? Does it have to win Game of the Year? Does it have to critically beat Breath of the Wild? I think the better question is, does it have to be better than Breath of the Wild? Breath of the Wild released in a time of Nintendo's history where Nintendo desperately needed a win, and Breath of the Wild came and saved the day. At this point, 6 years away from Breath of the Wild, Nintendo is in a way better position than it's ever been. I feel like Breath of the Wild was more of a way of saying Nintendo isn't done yet. Now, I feel like Tears of the Kingdom is going to be more of a celebration of everything Nintendo learned in these last 6 years, and a celebration of how far they've come. I believe personally that The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom will be fundamentally better than Breath of the Wild, because they're getting that same base foundation that they built in Breath of the Wild and building it and adding it and just all out having fun with their whole game. But will I be able to look back on Tears of the Kingdom with the same fondness and memories that I have for Breath of the Wild? Only time will tell. I will, however, say that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are most likely going to stand together as two of the greatest games Nintendo ever released, two of the greatest entries into the Legend of Zelda franchise. I personally don't think one has to be better than the other. Tears of the Kingdom does not have to outsell. It does not have to win Game of the Year. Nintendo at this point has nothing else to prove. The Nintendo Switch has done the impossible. Breath of the Wild did the impossible. Together, they marked Nintendo as a powerhouse in gaming again. Together, they revitalized the brand. And together, they brought in a whole new generation of gamers that are now going to be going into Tears of the Kingdom ready to celebrate everything that Nintendo Switch has accomplished and everything Legend of Zelda has gave to this company. More so, I feel like we're just going to see a better look at what the future of Nintendo is going to be. Everything I'm seeing from Tears of the Kingdom just looks amazing, from the creation to the exploration to even the story. Tears of the Kingdom looks like it's going to be one of my favorite games on the Nintendo Switch. And I don't know in the long run if I'm going to be placing it better or worse than Breath of the Wild. I will, however, say that I am just to the moon excited about when this game comes out. I can't believe we're less than a month away. It feels like forever ago that we heard about this game, and we've been anticipating this game and speculating and hoping that it releases. And it just feels almost like a dream to know that this is right around the corner, that next month, May 12th, I'm going to be playing The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and seeing the full imagination of the Zelda team and being able to explore and create my own version of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And I just can't wait for everyone to be playing the same game again. I think those are always really the funnest moments, when everyone's playing the same game and everyone's kind of exploring things differently, and we're all comparing notes about what we found here, what we found there. And I don't know if this is going to be the last big game for the Nintendo Switch, but if it is, it's a damn good final big game for the Nintendo Switch. This is going to be a huge celebration where I feel like all Nintendo Switch gamers are going to come together, and just no matter what happens in the future, we're all going to be able to celebrate this game together, and I'm just very excited for that. All in all, those are my final thoughts on this topic. Do me a favor, you guys, like the video if you like the video. Please consider subscribing, as it does help me out tons. Before you leave, let me know down below if you think Tears of the Kingdom will be better than Breath of the Wild. With that, I'll see you guys on the next video.